Your clothes are aging faster than they should. Your towels are stiff. Your colors are fading. Your sportswear smells strange, even straight out of the wash. And you've probably accepted all of this as normal. Just what happens to clothes over time. It isn't normal. It's the result of washing habits that the detergent industry has quietly encouraged for decades, because habits that damage clothes create customers who buy more detergent, more fabric softener, and more replacement clothing on a reliable cycle. I'm Keiko Nakamura. I'm 72. I grew up in Osaka, watching my mother and grandmother wash clothes in a way that made them last. Their towels were soft for years. Their colors held. Their fabric didn't pill or distort or develop the mysterious smell that seems to plague modern laundry, regardless of how many products you use. Then I moved overseas. I adopted the habits everyone around me had. Fill the machine, pour in detergent, press the button, repeat, for 40 years. And my clothes aged the way everyone else's did, quickly, disappointingly, expensively. When I finally understood what I'd abandoned, I was angry, and not at myself, but at how thoroughly the industry had replaced genuine knowledge with purchasing habit. Because the Japanese approach to laundry isn't complicated. It doesn't require special products. It requires understanding what you're actually doing when you wash clothes and making a few precise changes that the detergent companies would very much prefer you never made. Here is everything. Istis adhirigen. The first mistake, how wadadai and chridai barti. Whilst your fras your shaigartati and shor and chi and chas your shoak are separating. Most people separate whites from colors. This is not enough, not even close. The real separation principle is by soil level, not just by color. Clothes that are heavily soiled, sweat-saturated, or genuinely dirty should never be washed with clothes that were lightly worn. Your gym clothes from a hard session carry bacteria and odor compounds that transfer to everything else in the drum. A shirt worn for 3 hours in an office is not in the same category as socks worn through a workout. Washing them together means the clean things absorb what the dirty things are releasing. The Japanese approach separates into, at minimum, 3 categories: heavily soiled, normally used, and lightly worn. It sounds like more work. In practice, it takes 30 seconds of additional thought before loading the machine and produces dramatically better results. The second separation principle is weight and fabric type. Heavy items, jeans, towels, denim, beat against everything else in the drum. They are rough on delicate fabrics, on fine knits, on underwear. Heavy with heavy. Delicate with delicate. Not because the Japanese are particularly precious about laundry, but because physics operates inside your washing machine, whether you think about it or not. Correcting just these 2 separation habits will extend the life of your clothes noticeably within the first month. Preparing each garment before it goes in. This is the part almost no one in the West does, and it accounts for a significant portion of the difference between clothes that last and clothes that don't. Every colored garment goes into the machine inside out. Everyone. The exterior of a garment is the side that matters. It's another pay, another tay, and another day. It's what you see, what others see, what defines whether the piece looks good. It is also the side that takes the most friction damage inside the drum. Turning it inside out means the drum's friction affects the interior instead. The colors on the outside are protected. The texture is preserved. Done consistently over dozens of washes, this is why Japanese clothing holds its color and shape for years, while the same Western brands fade and distort in months. Every zipper gets closed before washing. An open zipper inside a washing machine is effectively a blade. It catches on other fabrics, tears threads, damages zippers, creates snags that worsen over time. Close them, all of them, every time. Delicate items, anchimode cheporgais, edatotakai, ancham, soi, yokavin chinos underwear, fine blouses, thin knits, go into mesh laundry bags. These are inexpensive, reusable, and they reduce friction damage so significantly that the difference in how these items age is visible within a few months. The garment moves through the wash cycle, protected rather than being directly abragged against other clothing and the drum wall. Before washing, treat stains by type, because the most common laundry mistake is treating all stains the same way. Protein-based stains, sweat, blood, egg, dairy, must be treated with cold water only. Heat sets protein stains permanently into fabric. A paste of baking soda and cold water, applied for a few minutes before washing, addresses most protein stains effectively. Using hot water or a heated stain remover on these makes the stain permanent. This is one of the most expensive mistakes in laundry because it ruins garments that cold water treatment would have saved. Oil and grease stains, cooking oil, butter, makeup, mechanical grease, should be treated dry before adding any water. Apply plain dish soap or a natural soap bar directly to the dry stain and work it in gently. Adding water first emulsifies the oil into the fabric more deeply. Treating dry first allows the soap to break down the oil before water is involved. Tannin stains, coffee, wine, tea, fruit respond well to white vinegar diluted with water applied promptly. The key word is promptly. The faster you address any stain, the less aggressive the treatment needs to be, and the less damage the washing cycle will cause in trying to clean it. Here I need to pause and tell you about something. When I came back from Japan in my early 60s and began rebuilding these practices, genuinely rebuilding them, not just reading about them, but testing them in my own laundry, on my own clothes, I started writing down what I was learning, not just the methods, the reasoning behind them, why these things work, what the industry replaced them with, and why. What I'd been doing for 40 years that was silently destroying things I cared about. Those notes became a book. I called it The Careful Wash because that's what this entire approach is. Not complicated, not expensive, careful, attentive, precise in small ways that compound over time into clothes that last, and a wardrobe that costs you far less to maintain. It's in the pinned comment below this video. I hear from readers. Patricia from Ireland wrote to say she'd been replacing towels every 18 months for years and couldn't understand why they went stiff and lost their absorbency so quickly. She read the book, changed her approach, and her current towels are 2 years old and better than the ones she replaced. Giovanni from Italy said he was skeptical that laundry could matter this much and tried the method for 1 month and messaged me to say his sportswear no longer had the persistent smell he'd accepted as inevitable. Helen from Canada wrote, she's 68, moved from Korea years ago, and had the same experience I did of forgetting what she grew up knowing, and said the book felt like being given back something she'd lost. It's there if you want it. Now, Dalsarsius ein sheto tendis. The washing itself, the machine, temperature, quantity, and the detergent lie. The most damaging laundry myth the industry has maintained for decades is that hot water cleans better. For the vast majority of everyday clothing, this is false. Hot water shrinks cotton. It fades colors. It damages elastic fibers. It sets stains that cold water would have released. And modern detergents, whatever the bottle tells you about performance, are formulated to work effectively in cold water. The temperature is not what does the cleaning. The detergent's chemistry does it. Wash most clothes in cold water. T-shirts, everyday trousers, dresses, sportswear, colored items, orthi falterti, and ananoi, all cold. Warm water is appropriate for items that are genuinely heavily soiled. Hot water is reserved for specific cases, white towels, bed linens, items that require hygiene-level cleaning. That is a small category. Switching to cold water also reduces your electricity consumption significantly and extends both the life of your clothes and the life of your machine. The industry would prefer you used hot water because it reduces the effective life of everything. And clothes wear out faster, machines work harder, more things need replacing. Never fill the machine beyond 2/3 capacity. Clothes require space to move through water during the wash cycle. A packed machine means the water and detergent can't circulate effectively. Some areas get washed, others don't, and everything experiences more friction damage from being pressed against everything else. Test this. Load your usual amount, then try to push your hand into the drum. If it meets significant resistance, you have too much. Remove a few items. The detergent quantity marked on the packaging is a sales recommendation, not a cleaning requirement. Detergent brands benefit from you using more product more quickly. The residue from excessive detergent doesn't wash out fully. It stays in the fabric, making clothes stiff, dull, and eventually odorous. Use half the recommended amount. For lightly soiled loads, use less than half. Your clothes will be equally clean, softer, and free of the chemical residue that builds up with overuse. Baking soda and white vinegar. The two things that replace most of what you're buying. I've discussed both of these in other videos, but in the context of laundry specifically, there are precise applications and a critical rule. Baking soda goes into the drum with the clothes before the wash cycle. Half a cup directly with the laundry. It boosts the cleaning action of the detergent, neutralizes odor compounds at their chemical source rather than masking them, and softens the water, which makes the entire wash more effective. For sportswear or any garment with persistent odor, soak in cold water with baking soda for 30 minutes before the regular cycle. The difference is significant. White vinegar goes into the fabric softener compartment. Half a cup replacing commercial softener entirely. It removes detergent residue from fibers, naturally softens fabric, reduces static, and eliminates bacteria. The smell dissipates completely during the cycle. No vinegar smell remains on dry clothes. This is the question everyone asks, and the answer is definitively no. The critical rule: never use them simultaneously. Baking soda in the wash. Vinegar in the rinse compartment. If combined, they neutralize each other through an acid-base reaction, and both become ineffective. Separate them in time, and they each do their work fully. These two ingredients, combined cost almost nothing, available everywhere, completely natural, outperform the fabric softeners and specialty laundry boosters that cost considerably more and leave chemical residue in your clothing. The fabric softener industry exists to sell you a product that is largely unnecessary and actively damages towels by coating absorbent fibers with hydrophobic compounds. I covered this in detail in a previous video. The short version: stop buying fabric softener. Vinegar does more, better, for almost nothing. Drying, where most people lose everything they gained. The dryer is where the most damage happens to clothing that has been carefully washed. Heat shrinks, distorts, and weakens fibers with every cycle. Tumble drying is genuinely hard on clothing, and the more you do it, the faster your garments age. The lint you collect from the dryer filter is literally your clothes. That is fabric being removed from your clothing with every heated cycle. In Japan, outdoor air drying is standard for almost all clothing. The combination of air circulation and natural ultraviolet light sanitizes, refreshes, and maintains fabric without heat damage. Clothes dried in moving air keep their shape, hold their color, and last significantly longer. This is not always practical, depending on your living situation. But the principle can be applied partially. Air dry anything that matters. Good clothes, delicates, knitwear, anything you want to preserve. Use the dryer for items where convenience outweighs longevity concerns, but use it on the lowest heat setting available. For items that need to be wrinkle-free, remove from the machine promptly, shake once firmly to release wrinkles, and hang immediately. Most wrinkles that require ironing are caused by clothes sitting damp and compressed in the drum after the cycle finishes. Prompt hanging eliminates most of them. What this actually costs the industry. The entire commercial laundry system, detergents, softeners, dryer sheets, specialty treatments, stain removers for every possible stain type, is built on one foundational assumption that you don't know what you're doing and need their products to compensate. Washing clothes carefully doesn't require their products. It requires understanding. Separate correctly. Prepare garments before washing. Use cold water. Use less detergent. Add baking soda and vinegar in the right compartments at the right times, and dry without heat when possible. These changes together cost almost nothing and produce better results than the full shelf of branded products they replace. My grandmother's clothes lasted. She used a fraction of what we use now and spent a fraction of what we spend. Her understanding of how fabric works, how heat damages it, how residue accumulates, how care compounds over time into longevity was practical knowledge passed down through generations. The industry didn't improve on that knowledge. They replaced it with purchasing habit. There's a difference, and it costs you in clothes that age too quickly, in products you don't need, and in the constant cycle of replacing things that should have lasted. You don't need to change everything at once. Start with the inside-out habit for colored clothes. Do it for 1 month and look at your colors. Then close your zippers before every wash. Then try half the detergent. Then add baking soda to 1 load and see what happens to the smell. Small changes added consistently compound into a fundamentally different laundry practice. Your clothes will show you the difference. They'll last longer, look better, and cost you less to maintain. And the products you stop buying because you've discovered you don't need them. With frosty ait amen injichil, the kauchijis tea, omekechil, and eternity. Spangchichiskirchil will stay on the shelf where they belong. The careful wash. Everything I've covered here and more with the specifics my grandmother taught and I spent 40 years forgetting is in the pinned comment below. Take care of your clothes. They'll last much longer than anyone selling you replacements wants you to believe.